topic is social development of avatars, and how they develop interaction with other groups. Um, it, sorry, frog. That's how well people adapt to Second Life, how much their social development is, depends on how they stay. I know that I did a brief survey of the classes when I first came to Second Life, the 287 classes that were quite interactive. One of the requirements was that we had to put in 3 hours at the community virtual library reference desk on 3 different days, which meant spending time there and talking to people there. And we found that that was a very, very powerful force of integrating us into that social environment. Even when our time was done, they had a wall there. Most of you won't remember this, but there was a wall there around where the desk originally used to be, and we'd all sit up on top of that wall, and there'd be 10 or 15 of us all talking about things, and it got to be a really close-knit social group. And people kind of developed who their personalities were that way. And not just in the library personalities, but in other ways, because the more experienced ones would take people to other areas. And I know that's how I first arrived at the one of the Elf Circle groups, because one of the other librarians was also a full-time elf, a little hunter elf. And so I went up there with her and got involved in the elf culture there, and it was quite interesting. The dances every week, and there was a very strong social network there as well. And then from there, another thing I found at the library desk is one of the other people that was there was a person called JC, and he was the first person that I ever saw with a teenie, and I had never been even I'd never heard of anything like that. Just humans. All we ever saw was humans. And I made him go through all the little teeny motions. Let me get this. I made him go through all of them. The crying, and the laughing, and the waving, and the sit down, and lay down. And I made him go through all this stuff over and over and over again because I was just so amazed. And then he took me to other communities where I met other teenies, and that's how I kind of developed more into that. And it was a slow process because I spent so much time with the library community that I didn't always feel comfortable having found my inner ferret. But that is part of what keeps people in Second Life. I've talked to so many people and done so many surveys at the ends of other classes for why people didn't stay. And the most common one was it was lonely. There was nobody around to talk to. They'd wander around places and there was nobody there. And I had to give that a lot of thought. And it's because we don't get them outside of their own little educational network. The groups we have now don't spend that time at the reference desk making connections. They don't go to other groups and make connections with other people. And that's what develops us as people and as how we want to fit into Second Life. Because it's not just about the groups. It's like, for me, it's not just about being an elf, which was really cool for a while, but that's not where my personality was. We gravitate towards groups where the people have personalities similar to our own. I gravitate towards Tiny because they're full of fun. Poor spelling is encouraged. They're generous. There's no judgmental whatsoever. And I feel comfortable there. There's a lot of laughing. It's very humorous. Other people gravitate towards gameplay, sword play. There are golfing groups, sailing groups, pirates. And you kind of just gravitate towards areas where you have shared interests. And until you do that, Second Life is a very, very lonely place. And I think that that's one of the things we're letting down on, we're letting down the new students, the new groups as they come in, because we don't put them in that position of interacting with others right off the bat. And that's where I met Val. That's where I met Holly. That's where I met several people I see here. Uh, and when I met JJ at different functions were at Caledon. I mean, it's all been through networking through other people, but through that I found people that I connect with and places I've been, and that is what has developed my avatar to be successful and to want to stay. And I did a quick search on for the group that I started with. I think there was 10 of us in the first time I took the 287 class from Jeremy, longer ago than I'd like to think. And I went back and checked that, and that has the highest percentage of any of the other 287 classes since then for people that are still around and still come back and actively participate. They've stayed, and that one of the things that I had on my slide that I was going to put up, if it's here. Come on. A lot of these are from the survey about why people leave or don't leave. And I did this survey, but let's see. And you can thumb through it and see the actual results of the survey. And one here, I was going to talk about this too. I think this has been another problem that's frustrated people in getting them to connect, to getting them to have that social connection, is when they took away people having their own names. Now everybody knew people, and then in resonant. And that frustrates people. I mean, it takes away that sense of personal, of who you are as a person, and that's and they've tried to get it back, but of course, Linden Lab isn't going to respond to that. Let's see if the other slide was here. Come on, there, okay. And this was the other one that really struck me for how we develop, how our avatars become people that we like. And you get involved. That's where you learn. And I think that as groups I've talked about before, the people that leave are the people that do not connect. They do not make that social connection with people that they feel comfortable with. Whether it happens to be vampires or werewolves or soccer teams or dogfighting in planes, we all have to find a niche where there's people that we can talk to, that we enjoy being there, and have friends. And that's what builds us into who we are in Second Life, and why we want to stay, and why we want to participate. And none of us are involved in any one thing, but sometimes it's that one thing that keeps us here, and that allows us to be involved in everything else. And I would like to see more ways to do that, to get people engaged, to get them participating. It's like the being on the reference desk for the first time. Way back in that class. I'm not explaining that very well. Does any of that make sense? I mean, to even look at you guys here, look at this group here, and think about yourselves, and think about what keeps you in Second Life, what makes you comfortable here, and what keeps you here. And it's not what you do, but it's the people that you interact with. True. Very true. But through that story, other people come in and each life interweaves with other activities. I'm an integral part of so many other people's lives here, and they are of mine. It's visual networking at its finest. And that's how we get people to stay. We all worry about how many people don't stay in Second Life. The students that come and get bored because they want to run and there's nothing there, and how we get people involved. And that's how we connect them with our communities. And that is probably a topic for another presentation in the future of how we would go about connecting with our communities, what it would take. I know that my biggest thing has always been first day out when you have a new person, take them to Grendel's because Grendel's right that there opens their mind before anything else. They walk around and go, "Wow." Any questions?